never receive mercy. They shall never see God. And to stop and think, that's what, when Christ was on the cross, when it says He became sin, He received such a curse that He was completely separated. He would receive no mercy. He would never see God again. And so He cries out, my God, and they translated, why have you forsaken me? Completely forsaken. No words of encouragement. I mean, normally when we sin and we screw up, we have someone there who says, man, it's okay, God forgives you, God loves you. There was no one going to Him saying, man, God loves you, God forgives you. No one. He had no hope whatsoever. There was no kind word. It was, God damned you. And that's what He did to His Son. His own Son. And I was like, who would do that? But it pleased Him. No word of consolation. The pain of the cross wasn't by what puny men or little men did to Him, because I think Christ was a strong guy. And we know people that followed Him later that died at the hands of the cross by men, and they were hung upside down and they were burned through Rome and to light up the streets at night, and they died singing. They died singing for joy, knowing that they could suffer just as He suffered, and suffer in that way. But the pain of the cross is what God did to His own Son, and that He became complete sin. And as we can think about this and talk about this for probably months, maybe even years, I think probably eternity. Some have written, we'll think about these kind of things from, what? Usually I think of God became sin, well, it became my sin. Like just my sins, the sins I do, that's enough in itself. But it was even more than my sin. It was that He was rejected, He was left out on His own for nothing. To me, it's kind of awesome to know that Demetri is guilty. Casey Anthony. You've heard of Casey Anthony? Isn't that her name? Mm-hmm. The one who was accused of maybe killing her daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And if you've heard of the case, and then they said she was free. And I don't know if you watched the video when they pronounced her not guilty. Now, you might sit there and go, oh, she was guilty. Well, she was guilty. She did it. But I watched her face, and she sat there and she waited, and when he said, not guilty, it was amazing. Now, I don't know what was going on with her, the whole story and all this other stuff that they say. But 3 times 3 charges, whether or not she committed manslaughter or she, did this to her child, 3 times was not guilty, and not guilty. Now, I know I'm guilty. I know I'm guilty. And that if I were to stand there, it would be like, did you do? Yeah, I did that too. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't even say, well, I need to get a lawyer so I can get a lesser sentence. Because that's what's popular to do. Hey, I'll get a lawyer, though I did it, I can get a lesser sentence. It's not that way with God. It's just guilty or not guilty. And we all stand there and we say,